We have so much to say. So much is exploding. I'm telling you, regarding the Tyler Robinson case. You know, it's funny, we call it the Charlie Kirk case, the Tyler Robinson case. It is exploding like you cannot believe. And from areas that people are not really able to grasp in terms of why this is important. Let me see if I can break this down for you. As they say, first of all, welcome. And thank you for being a part of our endeavor today. It appears, as I have told you, remember, the butt of September, anybody, Guy Fawkes. Remember what I'm telling you. I am interested in the issue of whether proof can be proved. It's kind of redundant regarding this particular case of Tyler Robinson. Other people will certainly go into who was behind it, who was a part of it, who was it a foreign country? Was it Israel? Was it the CIA? Was it Mossad? Combinations thereof. That will not be addressed in this trial unless there is the strangest of circumstances where that becomes a direct issue in fact. Other people will develop that. Other people will. I'm not saying it's not relevant in terms of the world, but in terms of this case, it's never going to come up. Nor should it. Because I said, and by the way, last night we had a wonderful, absolutely wonderful time. 2 hours of, I have some of the best time ever. Some of the best attitude, fun, nicest people, foreign. We had people from Iceland, and I still have to sometimes pinch myself when I realize how many of y'all are from around the world. And it goes without saying. But so what I'm trying to do is lend my expertise, because here's the thing which is the most important. Many of you, wonderful, wonderful, great people, are not, how do I say this? You are not necessarily privy to the same kind of sort of stuff that we are. And when I say that, it's not meant in any way to be, I never want to sound pedantic. I never want to say like, you don't know what's going on. But this is something that I've got a lot of experience in, and I can help you as far as the courtroom stuff. The other matters, that's equally fascinating. Who was involved? Intrigue, Joe Kent. By the way, Joe Kent, who basically came in and said, I want to look into this. And they said, no. Kash Patel. And let me tell you what happened today, which is the most interesting. Sometimes I look for other people, other sources of this. One of the guys which I've always been so impressed with on many, many occasions, in many, many respects, is Judge Napolitano. He's a friend of mine. He is, I think, superb, and he has put together one of the best program shows ever. A wonderful intellectual and geopolitical counterbalance to that which is usually presented by the mainstream media. Just incredible. And he had on Larry Johnson this week. And what was interesting was he brought, I think it might have been today. I was just watching this. And I want to bring you up to a speed. Why is this important? It's important because we are seeing people who are not necessarily involved in the Candace Owens, Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk issue, now involved because what appears to be perhaps improper, impermissible, almost trespassory government interaction. Why was Kash Patel immediately on the scene regarding a state murder investigation? Ivan has just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Ivan. So very kind of you. We appreciate that immensely. Thank you, good sir. I believe, good sir. I'm going to presume if your name is Ivan, call me crazy. So, oh, by the way, the merch. Look at this, huh? Get my mug on your mug, huh? So beautiful. Oh my God. Be the first on your block. So people are coming forward and they want to know about this. Why was Kash Patel there? Why was the FBI involved? Why were they there interfering? This is Parkland Hospital all over again. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Now, this is important for the defense team because the defense team has to keep in mind where is this going? Candace she started this. I never want to try to apportion or allocate who is the more, powerful. Tucker has done exponential work, absolutely beyond anything you've ever seen. Not only that, but it's such a multiplicity, multifarious, multiform, veriform areas from UFOs to you name it. Candace has been pretty much more assiduous in her directed consideration and concern regarding subjects such as, the Brigitte Macron thing, but also Charlie, TPUSA, and Erica. So this is when you see what's going on here, when you see this hodgepodge, you start peeling apart. I don't want to say the layers of the onion, but you start peeling apart. You realize, wow, there's so much here. So to bring you up to speed, I reasonably predict, this is a very good bet, providing proficiency of the defense counsel, which I'm sure we're going to have, the following. Shannon says, how is Erica Kirk able to have Siki's phone and necklace? Are they not evidence? Excellent point, Shannon Brown. You've got a lovely daughter. Excellent point. That's a terrific point. Maybe they copied it. Maybe they took, who knows? I don't really know enough about phones, but I think you can pretty much copy it. When you get a new phone, you go into a T-Mobile or Verizon, they take your own phone, you put the new information and it transfers over. So it's a great point. That's a wonderful point. See, that's what we need. That's the kind of thinking. I love. That's it. Where somebody can, because you can watch this a million times. You get 10 people, and 10 people will come up with 10 observations. A lot of things happen. By the way, have you noticed how Erica now is dressing so plainly? Mrs. L noticed this as well. In fact, she tipped me out. She goes, "You notice this?" When she was doing that interview with Caroline Levitt, looked fine, but Candace, Erica had on, tennis shoes or trainers, as you UK folks would say, and she looked decidedly more I don't know what the word is. She was decidedly more ordinary, if that's a word. So I don't know if she's getting the message. She got the memo. She's turning it down. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where all of this goes. I'm not really sure. But keep in mind and watch all these things. But as I was saying before, good friends, I believe that what's going to happen is the following. You are going to see more probably let me say two things. Motions to suppress, motions in limine. Limine or limine, Limine. A motion to suppress means you cannot use a confession, evidence, the dope that was seized, maybe the breath sample, anything you want to introduce, you can suppress it. Anything introduced. A motion in limine or limine is basically you can't suggest or refer to certain things. It's an exception, but I'll give you kind of just a bit. They're basically the same thing. But one of the things that people would have to suggest is you would do a dual, a motion to suppress any admission vis-a-vis the parents. And I don't know if Tyler had admitted to anybody else, I don't know, but they're going to most probably say, well, he admitted to his parents. He admitted to his parents. He told his parents. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Because what they're going to say is the following. And let me make it even easier. As I've said, normally you tell your client, you know what, don't take the stand. But in this particular case, Tyler, you got nothing to lose, my friend. Take the stand. And act as dumb and stupid as you possibly can. So I can say, this is your killer? Tyler, why did you contact your... Tyler, did you do this? No. What were you doing there? I wanted to see. I don't know. I was there. I was curious. I don't know. So what? Well, why was he there? Why were those other people there? That place was packed. Ask them. It was an event. It was a Charlie Kirk event. Charlie Kirk was a scintillating, attractive voice in this particular thing. Why does Tyler have to explain? Well, why are you so interested? Well, why are they so interested? Some of these people there were flat out militant gay folks who were there. Why don't you ask them what they were doing? What are you asking me for? I didn't do anything wrong. I was there. So what? Okay. Did you kill them? No. Well, why'd you call your parents? Because I heard they were after me. When they told me they were after me, I'm going to say, they told me, listen, whatever you do, you better turn yourself in. Because those cops come in, break the door down, and if you scratch your ass, they're going to take this as some kind of a furtive movement and plug you. You got it? So you might want to do yourself a favor. Get out of this thing. Just be done with this. Okay, fine. Is that a confession? No. Then there's other stuff about I was there. Who told me I was there? Well, we've got the cell phone messages. Cell phone? Text messages? I'm going to bring my experts in there, and they're going to say, first of all, there's no way to authenticate this. If you can't authenticate something, whatever you introduce, any kind of documents, anything, pictures, events, you have to authenticate them. And this is the thing now, especially with AI. If you show somebody a picture, and if I said, let me ask you a question. I'm showing you what's been staked as exhibit number 1 for identification or defense exhibit. Do you know what this is? You go, yeah. Well, it's me. Who else is in this picture? I think it's Tyler. Yeah. Is this a true and accurate depiction of this event? No. Why? I've never been to this place. I don't know what this place is. I know it's me. I know it's supposed to be me, but that's not. I've never been to this place. I don't know. What is this place? That's not a good picture. You have to authenticate it. Versus, yep, that's me. Why? We were at UVU. We were there in the morning. See that truck in the back? Yeah, they were there. Yep, that's what I was wearing. Yep, that's me. That's me. I was there at UVU on September the 10th. That's me. That's authentication. Let the record reflect, and you introduce it, or you mark it, and then it's introduced. But the problem is, you have to authenticate something. You just don't walk up and hand a picture to a witness or to the jury. And once it's admitted into evidence, it goes into the jury room for them to look at. So you've got to authenticate things. Bob says, you think they'll try felony murder? Be a mismatch. Well, here's the thing. It's a good question, but normally this is a death that occurs during the commission of a felony, which normally is something else, for example, like armed robbery. You and I go in, Bob, to rob a place, and you get spooked, you pull out a gun, you shoot the clerk, and they charge me with felony murder, or murder 3, as they call it sometimes. Why? Because I didn't intend to do this, but I intended to commit the felony, and there was a death committed during the felony. That's normally kind of with other people, but here he's with himself. So you almost have to ask him, are you going to be charged with a death that occurred during the commission of the death during the murder? What? No, they're charging you with murder. It wasn't felony murder. The felony that was committed was this murder or whatever it was. So it's a very interesting take. I don't think it's going to murder 3. I think they looked at aggravated murder, something that involves the death penalty. But they're going to put it this way. My position will be, I don't care if it's murder 3 second-degree murder, first-degree murder, reckless endangerment, manslaughter, vehicular homicide. I don't care what it is. He didn't do it. Because he did not speak to anybody, admit to anything. Not only that, I don't want to get real arcane with you, real recondite, but all of you wonderful scholars out there will ask yourself, what about the best evidence rule? See, the best evidence rule is really weird. Before you always have, the court always appreciates originals. I mean originals. We want original. We don't like copies. You have to be able to explain why the copies work. I have been so successful with this one particular rule. It says the best evidence rule for original document or the original documents rule says that the original writing, recording, or photograph, recording be produced. Let me try it again. The best evidence rule or original documents rule requires that the original writing, recording, or photograph be produced to prove its content, ensuring accuracy and preventing fraud. It applies only when approving the specific terms of a document, not for proving a fact of independent. So, make a long story short, it's triggered when the content of a document, photograph, or whatever is introduced. The original is required though modern rules allow for reliable duplicates, maybe. So what happens is when I'm introducing or somebody's introducing a recording, a screenshot, how do I say this? A screenshot or how do I say this? God, what am I trying to say? What the hell am I trying to say? A Discord piece or whatever it is. This is interesting. This, if I bring my person in, my expert, he's going to say, I don't know what this is. I don't know where this came from. Is this a true and accurate depiction? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know what this is. Isn't this a part of an agreement? Well, it may have been. So I may have a judge say, we're not going to introduce this screenshot because of the fact that I don't know what it is. You just don't introduce it. Well, it says a screenshot here. So what? Here's a screenshot. I'll make a screenshot for you. See what I'm saying? The rules of evidence really change with a lot of phone stuff. So the bottom line is there may be no evidence, no nothing. So there's no admission. Okay? No admission. The court says, in an abundance of caution, notwithstanding the fact that it hasn't been identified or verified or authenticated. No, I'm not going to allow you to introduce this stuff. Period. Okay, so that's it. So what's left? The gun, the rifle, the shooting. And guess what? There's no connection. I keep telling people, forget it. They're not going to mention it. They're not going to mention it. There's going to be no rifle. So you're going to hear this story about, there's Tyler, and you're going to hear nothing about a confession, nothing about an admission, and nothing about a rifle. So the jury's going to say, what the hell do we have? I don't know. He's got a gay boyfriend. What is there? If the jury says, excuse me, we're going to go back and decide what? Why do you think, Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. Prosecutor, why do you think Tyler did it? We haven't heard anything about a confession. Any eyewitnesses? No. No confession, no eyewitnesses, no rifle, no murder. The fact that he was just there? Now, Larry Johnson said something today. And by the way, please watch Judge Napolitano today. It's excellent. Larry brought up a very good point. I'm going to remind you of something. And I'm sure you know this already, but a lot of people don't. And by the way, I don't care if you know how to use a knife. Let me tell you again how a knife works. Because if I'm trying to explain to you how pieces of DNA material can be left on a knife, I have to explain to you what a knife works like. So anyway, as you know, when you have a rifle versus a shotgun versus something that just sends a ball out, you don't know where it's like a screwball versus a fastball or something. In the rifle, they have lands and grooves. They burrow this, they rifle it, and they have these lines. You can look down the barrel. He even brought up a good point. Remember that 007 barrel? You could see the grooves, so that when the round goes out, it starts to curve and spin by virtue of these riflings, and that's what gives it its spin. And that's why a spiral football is better than the routine. Well, when that bullet is retrieved, let's say I were to shoot it into water or sand or something, but water, it slows it down. I can take that and say, look, you can see this particular groove, and each rifle has its own fingerprint, its own lands and grooves, its own markings. So if I take a round that is retrieved from somebody's body, let's say it's in good, and I put it on one side of this microscope, and I put there's a piece of like wax, and you put it on, and you split the screen. On one side you have this groove, and on the other side you have your sample that you just fired from, you hope the rifle, to see if it's the same rifle. And you take this round, and you take it from the water sample. It hasn't been, the reason why it's shot into water, so you don't, deflect it or deform it. And you put it on the other side of this little wax prong, and then you look at this binocular scope, and you match them up. And the riflings, the grooves, the lines on one bullet will match perfectly if it's from the same rifle. The rifle, not the brand, not the model, not Mauser 98, but that barrel. And you can, if you put them together, that's it. You can say the rifle or the round retrieved from the victim was shot from the same rifle that shot this one. And it's the one that we have in custody or in. You have a problem, though. Nothing was recovered. A metal something or other, a shard. And there was some reference over the fact that you can say, well, maybe we can compare the metallic fingerprint of this piece of metal. Maybe we don't have the lands and grooves, but maybe we can show by virtue of some kind of a composite deposition review or analysis the same type of chemical signature. And they say, no, bullshit, doesn't work like that. Meanwhile, they've got nothing. They've got nothing. So I, as a defense lawyer, are going to say, I don't want you to mention a rifle. I don't want you to say 30-06. I don't want you to say granddaddy's shooting iron. I don't want you to say nothing. Now, if it gets to that, let me show this. I'm going to go and I'm going to have an experiment done. And it's always allowed it. And I'm going to show a 30-06 hitting a paraffin cadaver, whatever you want to see, 140 yards away. There's Raul. There's our good friend Raul. Welcome, my brother. Good to see you. Happy Saturday to you, dear friend. I'm going to take this and I'm going to show this bullet shot, and I'm going to show this boom. And there's different ways to show the power of a weapon. One is this. This is interesting. If I took like a gallon of like a milk jug or a gallon of water, and I have 5 or 6 of them lined up, and I take the first one. Here's a 22. And if I shoot, the gallon of water, plastic jug, boop, it hits, and a little stream comes out. Oh, there's the water. That's it. Oh, nice little hole. That's a 22. That's nice. Doesn't seem to do much destruction unless it's close contact. Here, then it bounces all over the place. And that's always been the assassins. You know, Mossad loves it, especially specifically the Beretta 22. Love it. It just bounces. Anyway, you got 22, 32, if you even have it, 22, 30, 38, 45, 9mm, even 40 count, whatever it is, and you keep going up. And then you get into like the 45, which is personally M1911, 45 caliber. I think it's the best handgun there is. Now, this one hits that jug of water, and I mean, pow, the water, everything just explodes. Why? Is there an explosive round in it? No. Well, why doesn't it just have a bigger hole with bigger water? Well, then you get to the paraffin block, and this is interesting. You have this actual paraffin block, looks like a tube, or like a, what would you call a three-dimensional rectangle, a prism, or no, that's weird. Because there's a sphere, anyway, it's a block. Imagine like a big block of cheese, but it's paraffin. You can see through it. When this thing hits, the shock waves, it's wow. That's what expands, and I mean, it just goes crazy. And that's the interesting part. That's why some of these rounds that hit people, it causes such a kinetic 1/2 equals mv squared kinetic energy. Once it hits you, it's not the round, it's the pow, and it's just the knockdown power. And oh my God. Whereas a 22 just it doesn't generate much. And that kinetic energy that you can see in a wave. So what I'm trying to say, perhaps long-windedly, my apologies, but if I'm in a courtroom and I say, and it never gets to that, and I'm going to say, well, let's look at this. Let's look at this 30-06 from a Mauser 98. Are we going to even use that gun? 140 yards away, and you see this. Pow! So I'm going to then bring my next expert. State your name for the record. I could have ballistics experts. I could have FBI experts. I could have an emergency room physician. What is the chance of this causing a hole right here in the soft part of the, and hitting a bone or something? Remember that hit was a C2 and then went down, and they may have found the fragments. Did I hear correctly? In his abdomen? Anyway, for this to go in and and then down, because his bone structure was so strong. This is a 30-06 round going on, and the spiraling, the energy, the kinetic energy is going to go in, hit that C2, say, shatter. The bullet's going to shatter. Now, a frangible round is something that's interesting. It's deliberately made to expand, whatever, via explosion almost. That's what people believe Lucien Sarti used against JFK on the grassy knoll. He was badge man. That was a little round in there, a little charge that goes off. But this is different. And if I said, Dr. So-and-so, if I looked at this, if we saw this terrible picture of Charlie, could you guess if this was a round? I don't even know, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even know about all of a sudden this shot and then this fountain of, I don't know. I need somebody to tell me. Somebody would say, no, that's an exit wound. Or no, I don't know, because nobody's really talking about that, because there were some other people who were talking about exit wounds in the pack. But remember, there was nothing that we saw here. Candace put up that one photo, or that one piece of behind Charlie's head. And by the way, please forgive me, but when you're in murder prosecutions, it all comes down to this. Many times it comes down to drugs, lab reports, toxicology, ME's reports, inches, millimeters, entrance wounds, temperature of the body. It's not what you think. It's very, very technical, very physics oriented, that's what it's about. It's not about any of this other stuff. So if it gets to that, what I believe is going to happen is they're going to mention nothing about a gun, because it's not connected. You see what this is? This is a hairbrush. It's not a hairbrush, If it is, we got a problem. This is a lint brush. And this lint brush is also negative for any kind of projectile because it's a lint brush. That rifle is not linked to any type of projectile. This is exactly the same as a lint brush in terms of its relevance. Nothing. So what are you bringing up a rifle for? What are you talking? I would make a motion in limine not to discuss it. Don't show that picture. Oh, and if, by the way, somebody were to look at this, as Larry Johnson very astutely said, and said, okay, you want to bring this in? Terrific. It's a 30-06, right? Mauser 90, good. Let's look at that scope. Let's look at that. Give it to us. Let me turn it over to an expert. And you can say, can you imagine, you have to zero things depending upon certain. Everybody has to do reconnaissance work there first. You have to, he's never been there before. You have to walk around. You have to say, where am I going? Where do I go? What's going on here? Believe it or not, during the JFK assassination, they believed that the shooters were there maybe a month ahead of time. Could be a month. Who knows? Prior to all of this, just there to look around. Escape routes. Where do I go? How do I get up? Is he going to be there? How does he know where it's going to be and what kind of configuration? Oh, look who it is. There's Joe Marvel. Thank you, Joe. Happy Saturday to you, dear lady. How does he know where he's going to be? Where the stage is? Now you can say, well, he just was lucky. This isn't lucky. First of all, no, I mean, either he was the sniper or not. And if he was a sniper, you just don't walk up and say, okay, I'll go up this, up on that roof. I'll shoot, I'll break down my gun. I mean, we haven't even talked about, using a screwdriver to break down the gun, which is another issue. I don't want to make it more complicated. But all this stuff requires you being there and look at it. See, how many yards is that? Duchess of Camelot says, happy Easter, Lionel, to you and yours, and the same to you, dear lady. Thank you. And that goes everybody. Happy Jewish holidays, Christian holidays. Tomorrow's the big one, by the way. This is it. Christianity, this is it. This is it. The big one. Today's Holy Saturday. Tomorrow's Easter Sunday. This is it. Just to let you know. This is it. It's not about eggs, not about Peeps and Cadbury. It's about that. Anyway. So going back to this, all of this, and I want him to take that stand. Because I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, do you hear this guy? Remember, assuming the gun comes in, because I'm telling you right now, it shouldn't come in at all because it's not connected. The lint brush should come in. Anyway, but let's do the crazy suspension of facts or reality. Let's say for some reason it comes in. I don't know why, but they bring in the gun. This guy got there early. Get somebody who's a decent shooter who says, first of all, I got to know, I need a rangefinder. I say, where's my target? I got one shot at this. No pun intended. I got one shot. I got to hit this thing. See how one of those rangefinders, you look on the 140 yards. All right. Let me zero in for 140. To zero in that scope, you've got to zero it. You've got to, just because you've got a scope on there doesn't mean anything. You start off by firing at something and then up to the left and you turn it and you move it and then you say, okay, I have to adjust. So that reticle, this, I've got to make sure that when I fire it, it has been centered for that. If it pulls to the right, I'm going to have to adjust for that. So what I'm looking at may not really be a direct line of sight. It might be a little off in order to compensate the pull, the tendency, the imperfection, the inaccuracy, whatever it is. That's a lot of work. He did this. Then you look at this gun. Look at it. Let me show my expert. He's on the stand. Look at this. Any rusty screws? This is hard. I tried to take it apart. This one, by the way, this is the best weapon. Look at this. This came with my, I put this chair together. It gave me this. Man, you put this in your hand. Whew. This will get your attention. Anyway, he might say, I have a hard problem with that one rusty screw there, and I got to put it back together. And And the jury's going to keep looking like, this guy did this? Because I'm going to make him out to be retarded. I'm going to make him out to be, look, he may do great in his ACT or his, placements or whatever the hell you call it. This guy's dumb as a rock. I mean, he is stupid. Just plain old Jethro Bodine stupid. So don't let anybody kid you about how brilliant he is. Look at him. Forget it. He's the mastermind. And tell me why again? So tell me, Tyler, why did you go there? Because he said something mean. Okay, all right, yeah, oh yeah. And why is that? Because my girlfriend, Tyler, it's a guy. You're gay. Okay, maybe. Yeah. Stop this bullshit about trans. He's a guy. What's the matter with you? You got the pronouns? You're gay. Nothing wrong with that, but say you're gay. Don't tell me trans. See, a lot of men who are gay can't say it. So what they do is they say, well, it's a trans man. No, it's not. Anyway. Put him on there. Now let's see how those Utah people say this guy's crazy, right? Look at this. But sure how crazy he is. Out of all the women in the world. I mean, he's not exactly gig young, but look at this thing. And he got up there with a rifle. And then after he got done, by the way, he picks up the phone or calls his girlfriend or whatever. I said, by the way, would you go get it for me? It's wrapped in a towel. 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 The dogs missed it? The dogs missed it? Huh? The dogs missed it. Did Cash Patel help? And by the way, Cash, what the hell were you doing there? Now let me also say something right now. And let me just throw this in. And please forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm jumping all over the place. It's my nature. I got so much to say. And I don't know if I've covered it. I blur stuff out because my head is exploding with stuff. This case is such bullshit. I mean to tell you. This guy is looking more and more, I don't mean not guilty, I mean innocent. Defense lawyers, we don't use that innocent. Very few innocent people. Some people say, well, I made a hard time proving this. Well, no. I don't know what he was doing there or what. I don't think he had anything to do with anything. But let's talk about something else. And again, it's not going to come in for the trial, but you've got to address this. Larry Johnson mentioned it. Judge Napolitano mentioned it. Candace mentioned it. Joe Kent mentioned it. Tucker mentioned it. How do you explain immediately that Bibi Netanyahu is saying, not me, don't look at me, hey, I got an alibi, don't look at me, I don't know anything about this, I don't know anything about this. Who asked you? Who thought you? But while we're on the subject, why would you feel even so connected to even say it wasn't you? You can give your condolences, but what the hell's going on with that? What's that all about? And you got these other people too, because the story goes, here's the narrative, okay? When this thing happened, the story is that prior to September the 10th, he was either summoned to some event, some type of high summit at the Hamptons. And it was, I think, Bill Ackman, other people were there. Big names. There she is. Feliz Pascua. I don't know how you say it in Brazilian. Bongino recently admitted his wife Paula did scheduling work for Andrew Colvett. A key TPUSA figure. A coincidence some critics have highlighted amid his FBI role. And his listen to this. So Bongino, this is what Carla, Brasileira Mia. Bongino recently admitted his wife Paula did the scheduling work for Andrew Colvett, a key TPUSA figure. A coincidence some critics have highlighted amid his FBI role in the Charlie Kirk administration. Very, very, very interesting. By the way, happy Easter to you and your family, dear lady. Good friend of ours, thank you. So here's the story. So they're saying that at some point prior to this, Charlie was saying, I'm really getting I don't know what to do about this Israel thing. I don't know about Iran. I'm feeling strange about this. This is the story. I'm done with you folks. I'm done. I am not a whatever you want to call me, Zionist. I just TPUSA. You know what? Keep your donations. We're out of this. The argument is that this was so jarring, so problematic that many people provide it might be evidence of or indicia of some kind of a connection. That's not going to come up during the trial, though. If it is, it makes. I mean, theoretically, it makes sense on paper if all that can be proved. But remember, that's the other investigation. That's a YouTube discussion. That's not courtroom. That ain't going to come up in the courtroom at all. It's just not. You're not going to sit there and say, "In defense, we'd like to call Baby Netanyahu." What? No, it's not going to go that way. But it's interesting, though. Now, I told you my thoughts on that. I'm telling you, you have to listen the same way during the JFK assassination. There were people who believed that JFK. My good friend Roger Stone believes it was Mac Wallace. It was an LBJ connection. Other people believe that it was CIA, FBI, Carlos Marcello, the mob, Roselli, anti-Cuba. So you have to look at all of them. Again, that's Candace. That's other discussions. Our good friend Jimmy Dore, who, by the way, I'm going to be doing an interview with him coming up. I'll let you know ahead of that. I'm going to be on his show. He brought it up. And it's for you not to discuss it is discussion negligence, all right? Malpractice. Absolutely, positively, 100%. That's not the issue. The issue, though, is that there's so much to this, and people are now coming forward and they're saying, holy shit, this is getting more and more complicated. People who never, ever cared about anything involving Israel, not because they were prone one way or the other, who just, do you know how many people, the word Zionist is used a lot, Zionist. I can go to Times Square right now and ask somebody to define that. I'm always explaining it. People don't know what that means. It's not, it hasn't been a word certainly popular in the rest of the world, but not here among average folks. So now we're into that realm. So this case is falling apart faster than ever. And look at the people who are involved in this. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and also we've got Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi. People are suggesting maybe this. I don't want to bring in the Epstein. I don't think there's any Epstein connection at all to this. I'll even pay lip service to it if it even exists. I just don't think it's there. I don't think it exists. There's no connection. But this is just falling apart. And the more this case is there, I would tell President Trump or anybody, this case has to go bye-bye, which is and by the way, please, my friends, thank you, David. Please like this. You're liking this video now. It is so critical. What YouTube does is it looks at a lot of things. It looks at your interaction, whether you like it, how long you've been on, time spent viewing, time spent watching. Later on, we have always follow-up comments. But liking is one of those factors. And when YouTube likes something, it says, okay, you've hit whatever this level of like, it then recommends it to the rest of the universe, the rest of the YouTube world. And then they come on board and we meet new people and they might say, hey, I like this. Because as you notice, this is very rational. I'm not screaming and yelling on them. No. And despite what you may think, I call it the way it is. And two things. Somebody better very, very carefully watch, especially as this gets more, better watch Tyler Robinson's safety. Okay? Because remember, if he goes away and the case goes away, all of the chances of exposing this go away as well. Because now the more we talk about this, people are saying, wait a minute. He had a meeting with who? Charlie? Really? So you're saying that Charlie was planning on breaking from Israel, as they say? Breaking from them? That he was against this war in Iran? And a lot of people thought that he still carried a lot of weight. And that if TPUSA or that faction, because you know, Bongino has no soul. He's just a little twit. And he's a girly man. And Cash, oh, forget it. Cash is so. I mean, you want to ask Trump and say, Mr. President, are you out of your fucking mind? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He hasn't gotten laid since Johnson was president, Andrew Johnson. So he meets this country music chanteuse, and he's acting like a goddamn fool. And what you're doing is you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention because you're forgetting that this man is in charge of your FBI. And why was he there? He's going to botch everything up. He cannot do things. He is not cut out for this. He does things personally. J. Edgar Hoover would have never done this. He's not there. J. Edgar Hoover was nowhere near Dallas. He was on the phone. And then you got Bongino. Remember how all of a sudden they came out. Basically, nothing to see here with this Epstein stuff. You got two things that are going to get you. Epstein and now this. Mr. President, you've got to ask yourself whether you're smart. You've got two people. I don't know what your connection is, but I'm telling you, good sir, and you and I can argue all day long about whether this connection to Israel stuff is a valid argument, and many arguments can be made one way or another. But there is a rumbling here. There is a political rumbling, and your predecessor and the Republicans. By the way, good news, Democrats are just as connected. Democrats aren't saying anything about this. You can watch, do me a favor. Watch MS Now, whatever the hell this show is called, MSDNC or CNN, and watch anybody mention anything about Bibi or Israel. Same thing goes for Fox. You'll not hear anything. Both are covered. Left and right, identical. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I am telling you, they don't talk about it. That's why most people don't know what you're talking about. Israel. What does Israel have to do with this? And you think, wow. See, not everybody knows what we know. Not everybody knows this. Not everybody. You know, there are certain people I go to. Do you have them? Do you have friends of yours who don't know anything? And you ask them, well, what do you think about this? And if they don't know, we have one in particular. If she doesn't know, that's par for the course. So this is changing drastically. I mean, drastically. Let me just tell you something. And here's the thing. I want you to understand something. This is about Charlie. This is who killed Charlie. This is who killed Charlie. This is the part which is the most. I can't say this enough to you. This is who killed Charlie. Does anybody care about him? And that wife of his, Erica Kirk, there is nobody in the. See, I was trying to figure out. She's sort of Kim Kardashian, only that Kim Kardashian, you're wondering, why is she famous? What is she? What is she? She's like the Rula Lenska. Ask your parents about Rula Lenska. Anyway, she's like, there's nobody. But, so you know why? Yeah, okay, you know, Erica is supposedly in charge. But she's also Meghan Markle. She is just so phony. And I mentioned this last night. And please, you got to understand something. I do not believe I'm sexist. I believe I am an absolute realist when it comes to sexes and genders. Okay? And I know women. I'm just going to leave it at that. You know, you get to a point, you know, I got it. I understand. And there's one thing that you have to understand. Do not, with women, do not, that's all I'm going to say. Complete respect. Do not. They will never forget anything. Nothing. A guy can be in a fight, he can have a scar, and it's like water under the bridge. Who cares? And one of the things women do is they have this internal, I mentioned this last night, they have this internal ability to detect bullshit. And the reason why is that in order to be a good parent, you have to realize if their kids are lying, if their kids are sick, they have to pick up on cues. A mother has to be able to look at a baby. And I must say, you don't have to have children to do this, but I think in your natural wiring, and believe it or not, if you don't think you have natural wiring, there's no hope for you. If you don't think women are wired differently, intellectually, suspicion, or forget it. You haven't lived. You just don't know anything. It's just the way it is. Certain breeds of dog get better than this. Certain breeds of human or genders, I guess, not breeds, but well, maybe breed. I don't know. We're animals. But the moment happened to me, but the moment that you saw Erica lie over, traverse, so to speak, cover over, hug that casket with Charlie's hand and a medal, some gold medal, some titular, your heart, your respect sunk. It did it for me. I said, that's it. This is the most despicable, vile human being I have ever met in my life. Now I get it. You she's almost like rapacious. You exploitative. Your husband's murder and dispatch, the father of your children. You're doing this. And then the next day, 6 days later, that film, and then I realized she's gone. And now she's so far off. Maybe somebody listened to her. They said, you don't understand it. You've got to leave. You have no respectability. Everybody watches you now. Drewski. She might be the most, first of all, there's a combination of, there's nothing smart about her. See, there's one thing about Kim Kardashian. You can laugh all you want. She knows how to play it because she's her mother's daughter. Remember, her mother sold a sex tape of her daughter. Talk about pimping her daughter with Ray J, whatever his name was. And this thing went, I mean, they don't make any bones about it. They will sell anything. Their soul, they're anything. But they're smart. They may have no morals, but they're smart. They know how to play this. Meghan Markle, absolutely diabolical, like you can't believe. But smart. Prince Harry, what Meghan Markle's doing is Charlie. Charlie, God bless him, was an idiot. When it came to women, I don't think he had any girlfriends, or I don't think he knew anything. He talked about, I don't know. There's a certain look. I understand the spiritual part of it. I really understand this. But when you don't understand the sexual part of it, you can't negotiate. You know, when you're a young man, you meet somebody and normally logic is the last thing you even think about. Because remember something, and this is important. You obviously know this. This is why kids don't understand this. When it comes down to when hormone meets emotion meets whatever, you go crazy. Love and attraction is crazy. It's an obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a focus. It's insanity. And it's weird. And you're wondering, sometimes you'll ask, why is this person doing this to me? Why? You might find yourself saying, I mean, they're attractive, but I can't put my finger on it. But something happens, some biochemical, you smell a pheromone or some connection, and you just lose your shit. And you've seen this before. Pardon my French. I think Charlie, I don't know who knows what happened to him. That's why you got to be there, especially with young men and women. Girls start much, much earlier. And boys, though, sometimes they'll get there first. They'll lose their minds. I've seen guys lose their minds. Men, I mean, tough guys. Really tough guys. You know what I mean? And lose it. So, and I don't know if Charlie had anybody. I don't know. I think they played him in the emotional part. I think he wanted a family and he wanted a wife, and I think he really was sincere. I think he believed what he was talking about in terms of the Bible and this and women's work. I just don't think he I don't know about old Charlie. I don't know. Bless his heart. Texas Beach Girl says, by the way, happy Saturday. Erica Kirk is also trying to act more demure. Yep, that's what I said. Casting her eyes down instead of upward. She needs a new acting coach. Young lady, by the way, happy Easter, happy holidays to you. You are absolutely, you got it exactly. See that? It takes a woman to know that. Please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to, I swear to God, I respect you. I say, I want to turn to you. What do you think? Because you've done this. Because it's a game we play. When I say game doesn't mean trivial. It means I'm going to have to act like something. Everybody, when you watch people like, watch, for example, the difference between, watch the way Audrey Hepburn acted in the old days. This is from the famous. And Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn had to combine two things. Elegance of style, but also sexiness, knew how to play it, knew how to play everybody's Breakfast at Tiffany's. Watch that. That's an exercise. She's doing it. In one sentence, she'll go from, she played a prostitute, a trollop to it. You better know how to do this. Erica, in her world, is not that smart. She's not the conniver. She doesn't know how to really play it. She doesn't know how to negotiate this. She just thinks that if I smile and do this stupid smile thing, that doesn't work. Have you noticed this? She either goes from giddy, smiley, cheerleader type to the stop it. You know, those eyes, the eyes of Laura Mars. Remember that those eyes. She's got, that's her on and off. You know, she's the sexy, hey, and then she's this one. That's it. Some women know this in colors. I mean, they can do in green, off green, forest green, olive. I mean, wow. They can turn on the intensity. They know it inside and out. She doesn't have it. She's that emotional kind of predatory she always thought, well, this is really brutal. But if I had to guess her, she reminds me of the type who always figures, you know, when in doubt, put out. I know this is terrible. Some people will say, look, I don't know, I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to be the demure. You want it? Yeah, that's it. Okay. I know how to do that. And then it works. Other people know how to play it. She was never ready for prime time. Never ready for it. Never. It's like Tammy Faye Baker. Could never really handle the whole notion of, I mean, she knew enough of the lingo. By the way, Tammy Faye Baker she did the crying thing too. But she knew the Christian parlance a lot better. Erica doesn't do it. She's as devout and pious as this lint brush. It's just, that's not her thing. She thinks she can act in it. She says, oh, I can do this. I can do that. No, you can't. These people are very good. It's like when you try to fool people at a wrestling match, the people at ringside are watching every move you're making. You can't fool them. Don't think that. You know, this is very, very serious stuff. So, I don't know. Watch very carefully, Texas girl. What happens now? Where does she go? What does she do? Does she kind of move out? What happens to her? I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's telling her, look, we've got the internals, you've got to just stop this. You are just not, it's not working. It's not cutting. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to, this just is not working. you're not doing this thing. You're just, so baby, back off from her. She's not going to back off. She figures this is her time. And even when, did you notice during the Caroline Levitt thing? Did you also notice something? Ladies, pay attention. How many of you notice that she doesn't do well with other women? When she is better, if she's with a man, she figures, oh, I know how to do this. But with other women, especially women whom she might perceive to be either smarter, more powerful, or more connected, when she was with Barry Weiss, even when she was on Fox, she just had, there was no likability to her. She was just, I'm the widow. Okay. No nuance, no range, no depth. I don't think she does well with women. I don't think she knows how to handle them because she realizes now she's up against competition. Remember the State of the Union? Remember the poor woman who was the mother of the Ukrainian young lady who was viciously stabbed? Remember when Erica was sitting next to her? She says, oh, is that what grief looks like? Oh. Texas Beach Girl says, EK needs to hire Goldilocks. Too hot, too cold. Goldilocks found the just right porridge. Absolutely. Very good analogy, Missy. Here, don't mess with Texas Beach Girl. I think she knows. Because you've done this. You negotiate. You know how to do this. Any waitresses out there? Okay. What's the number one rule of waitresses? The number one rule of being waitresses, if you have a couple there, never ignore the wife or the girlfriend. If you pay too much attention to the husband or the boyfriend, whatever it is, versus the wife, you're done. Your tip is done. But if you show your challenge is going to be the wife or the, if they like you, don't tell the boyfriend, give her something. She's nice. She's terrific. And women have the hardest time competing with other women. I'm sorry, you know it's true. You know it's true. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it's a God's honest truth. If a man, for example, let me ask you this. If your husband or your boyfriend or whatever it is, brother, husband, had a surprise party, and you said, I'm going to put together a surprise party. And you called his friend and says, how many friends does he have? He goes, oh, shit. 100? 50? What? They might be a little bit more, they're not deep, but yeah. Men have lots of buddies and very gregarious. Very gregarious. Now, switch it. The husband has to do a surprise party for his wife or girlfriend. How many friends does she have? She might have a sister. Not even a brother, but a sister. Mother, of course. And maybe a handful, if not one special girlfriend. That's it. Period. It's just like men with shoes. Men, how many pairs of shoes do you have? You got dress shoes, maybe 2, brown and black, right? Okay. Men don't, the whole shoe thing, it's maybe, well, sneakers and trainers and topsiders, all that kind of jazz. But no, 1 pair, 2 pair, that's it. That's women with friends. But with shoes, it's a different story. You know the routine. And by the way, these cliches are true because they're true. They become cliches because they're true. That's why. It's not because somebody made this stuff up and it's a lie. No, it's true. You're far more distrusting. You have to be because nature gave you this ability to protect your children. And you cannot protect your children if you're believing every song and dance story of every 2-time predator who comes up and cons you and distracts you away from your kids. It's no. And you have to apply this to everything. You are the most, not vicious, but you are the most clinical when it comes to suspicion. Listen to women in terms of buying. They're like the best. If you've got a jury trial and you've got women on this, oh, man. And also, by the way, younger. KRMKS says, you're spot on. Oh, I know I am. Thank you. I know I am. You know who are the best women? Best woman ever. Best. Best woman, best man, best human. Older woman, 70 years old plus. Grandmothers. When a woman says, I've had it, I'm done, I'm not putting up with this shit anymore, I'm just gonna be whatever I am, they're the best people. Superlative. I'm gonna wear what I want, I'm gonna wear a muumuu, I don't give a shit. But you realize how good they are, how smart they are. They're brilliant. They get rid of all that nonsense. You realize these people are really tough. These are the ones I would want as my generals. I wouldn't want them. They're just brilliant. Because you got to get rid of all this stuff. Nature takes a young woman, especially during adolescence, and just, pardon my French, fucks her up with all this nonsense. Get the looks and this and media, and you got to look like this, you got to be like this, you got to be like that. Oh, it's crazy. And then later on, men, Fred Flintstone, how's really doing? I bet you okay? Okay. Hey, let's go work out. Okay. Hey. Just, I'm sorry. Remember, women are crazy, men are stupid. The reason why Fatal Attraction is so terrific, one of the best movies ever, Alex Forrest, I will not be ignored, Dan. If you had a man in there, he would just stab her and that was it. There's no, the complexity, the difference. You have to understand this. Just get a room full of women, serious, just put on Erica Kirk and just listen. This is the best focus group there is. Just listen. You'll see stuff. Oh, man. The antenna. Oh, bullshit. Oh. And see, men still don't even understand it because you're telling them, no, you don't understand. Listen to what a woman says. You don't say, oh, she's a bitch. No, it's always nuanced. It's very, very complicated. No, what she's doing is she's acting demure. She realizes this, and she's playing the you know the chess moves. It's really takes one to know one. Please don't be offended, but you're very conversant with that. Listen, this is reality. Very reality. Listen to women talk about complaints about men. No, complaints about President Trump. Men and women, completely different. Bring in people who don't like him and listen to a man versus a woman. Different. Here's one for you. This is really good. Women will also know sometimes when to shut up. I know that may sound counterintuitive, but trust me. For example, when they say, so, compare Jill Biden with Melania Trump. Melania Trump is the most fascinating of them all. Women are interested, but they don't want to say it. Women will try to, they're reluctantly respectful. Almost in some respects, not all, in awe. It's like she knows how to play it. That's the way to play it. Jackie Kennedy. By the way, Jackie Kennedy, in terms of these people, they always talk about her husband. This guy was a three-peckered goat. He was a satyr, satirizes S-A-T-Y-R, like the male nymphomaniac. No, he wasn't. She was. He wasn't. Little side note, the Kennedy men had no emotional depth. They literally wanted just to be able to do as little as possible with a woman to say they've been with a woman. That's it. They wanted that mark on their headboard or whatever it is. Almost exclusively, every woman who ever was with John Kennedy said, even an egg takes 3 minutes, or that's it. His whole thing was not about, you were nothing to him. Nothing. And don't forget one thing. Don't forget what Bobby Kennedy did. He kept a book. He kept the book of all his conquests. Tesla, this says, I'll superset Lionel AG if Furry gets off. Furry is the girlfriend. You mean Tyler? Okay, that's all right. You'll see. Now, and I appreciate this. You're not watching the facts of the case. You're getting involved in the emotion of this. You're not looking at it, because your whole thing is, you're with all due respect, your whole thing is you're anti-Candace, and you're not understanding the argument. You're understanding the parties. So we, or Candace, whoever, we're the enemy to you. So consequently, anything that we say, must be enemy propaganda, and you're not listening to the facts. Politics, we can argue all day. This isn't politics. This is hardcore. This is legalistic stuff. It's true. There's no way around it. It's the truth. See, this is called realism. And I think Mearsheimer said it best. Realism is the idea that the way things are is more important than the way things should be, or the way things theoretically are. It's the way things really are. That's the point. That's all. And remember something. Maintain your conviction. You can always tell you're onto something when you get a lot of flack. You know you're onto something because you only take flack when you're over the target. I'm telling you. If I'm getting too much of this, hey, I agree with this, like, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that. If I don't get enough negative, it's like, good, that's good. It's a balance because now I'm hitting a nerve. That's what I need. The agreement stuff is terrific, but it's the negative stuff. That's what I want. That tells me, good, you got it. Because they're worried now. Because now they don't know what to say, so they just come after you. They never attack the argument. They come after you. And when you see that, you're winning. I couldn't be more serious about that. Because if somebody says, well, I disagree with you, because I do think there is some evidence of the fact being linked, whatever. See, that's not good. But if somebody says, oh yeah, you're an asshole. Okay, good, great. This is a conspiracy theory, even better. Candace is a demon. Now we're on to something. Now we're hitting. Good. Because you always need these people. You need the scrum. You need people. It's almost like it's like watching a kind of a focus group of children with a game. In any event, so we're going to see this. By the way, this is terrific today. I want to just say happy Holy Saturday to you. Very, very important days. Ladies and gentlemen, remember something. Irrespective of what you are, if you profess to be Christian, understand the fundamental difference between Catholics and Protestants. And the reason why is because you will understand Christianity better if you can differentiate the two positions. Because it involves your understanding the rules. And the rules are fascinating. They never teach you the rules. They just teach you the gospel, the scripture. But they don't explain to you the theories behind it. This is what these people say. This is what these people say. All right. You got that? Great. All right, dear friends. I mean this wonderfully, wonderfully, wonderfully much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's about it. Anyway, have a great day, my friends. Thank you so much. We'll be back later on today. Please come back. And your insights have been so terrific. Your insights, your focus. And ladies, superb. Absolutely, positively superb. Brava. Brava. All right. Talk to you later. Have a great and glorious day. Don't forget to follow Lynn's Warriors. I appreciate that immensely. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. We'll see you tonight. I'm looking for 8 o'clock. We'll see what happens. In any event, have a great day. Don't forget, Monkey's dead. Show's over. Sue ya. Dad.